me, my dad was in the army, so we've kind of moved around a lot. And at home, natively, like a native language would be English, which is very rare, right? In India, usually native language will be your ethnicity. Either you're from the south of India, where there are a whole bunch of languages, or you're in the north of India, which is primarily Hindi. But then there are dialects, there are, variations, and then there are actual other languages from the north of India.
So doing hypnosis in a non-native language, what do you think? Does that work the same as?
So the interesting thing is, I've come to recognize that if we're truly tapping into the unconscious, as we all know, it wouldn't matter. Meaning, it's our intent. It's our connecting at a now we're going beyond physics, going into the other realms. So if my intent and your intent is for you to succeed, then my hypnosis will work anyway.
Yes. It will work without. There was a person from India who was on our fair in Zagreb, and he asked me to do him a session of hypnosis in public. So he sat, and I spoke, and in the middle, I decided now I will tell you a few sentences in Croatian, and you will just enjoy and understand them with your subconscious mind. And then I started talking in Croatian. It was like 3 minutes of intent that you do, transferring the language. But there is also a significant element in the meaning, because if it weren't so, you wouldn't be an NLP master, would you? You wouldn't go there. You would go to do.
I get you. I get you. I mean, it's. I look at it like this. This is a way for us to bypass social constructs, and we are born in different places and born or part of systems that are functioning parallelly but separately, right? So that's where one way of looking at it is saying, okay, maybe I don't have the nuances, but I know at the meta you will, your intention, my intention, and my belief in my own skill is what will help transcend limitations, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so in a way that you're telling me that we learn in order to overcome our critical factor.
Yes. Big time. In a big way.
So just to get rid of the idea that we have to learn.
Yes. And if you think about it, mastery is that, isn't it? It's like, this is something I still struggle with even right now, which is, it's not like I cannot put a course together, but I've been in it for so long that if I have to stop and think about, okay, how do I put, or what do I put in a course, I don't feel good. If I had to do a session, that's a different story, right? So I'm just saying that this is where, when we are so deep in mastery, that we learn, and therefore we are learning the letters of the alphabet. But then after that, we don't really go back and say A for apple, B for ball.
Yes. Well, the basics are forgotten already.
Yes. Yeah.
That's difficult when you teach other people, isn't it?
Yes.
When you have to teach the basics, and you're already you did them so many times that you have to go back and say, okay, oh yeah, you don't know that. So maybe you are a teacher of hypnosis as well, a coach?
I've done a little bit of it. I've not done it extensively. I have used it a lot in creating workshops, in obviously working with people one-on-one. In this year, I've been doing a little more of the group hypnosis sessions. But I guess I wouldn't consider myself to be a standard teacher of hypnosis.
Okay, but you are a standard hypno coach. That for sure.
Oh yes.
Hello, George, Rahul. Nice to meet you here online. As you noticed, I started recording because
yes.
sometimes, as you said, we dive deep in and then we go back to the alphabet. So let's just get back some few letters of your beginnings. The first three letters, I will say again, are from 2007, NLP. Is it? Okay.
Yes.
You were a direct student of Richard Bandler in the 2012 or something like that, I remember.
Yeah, so I met him in Orlando in 2012. A quick little jump back was, like I said, 2007. I found somebody who was very steeped in his own practice for decades. And he had learned from Richard Bandler in the 1980s. So that was my initial exposure to NLP, and obviously it blew my mind. But what I realized was from 2007 to 2012, that journey, that part of the journey, that a lot of the processes were very long. You know, like changing personal history was like a couple of hours, right? Phobia cure was like 45 minutes to 2 hours, right? Fast phobia cure. So when I started, so learning that as a student is one thing. So I'm learning it for myself. You know, we've got the time. I'm there in a practitioner course. That was, well and good. But translating that into the real world where I'm working with clients, I realized that that was taking too much time. So I was always on the lookout for, is there a faster way to do it? Right?
Okay.
And that's how I ended up diving deeper. One of the things that I noticed was there is this concept of conversational hypnosis, right? And it was intriguing at first. And I'm talking, this is like 2008, 2009. So the internet also was in the very early days. YouTube had just about started. At least in India, we had like a basic access to it. It's not the way it is today, right? Which is like 15 years later. So
yes, and we already have to explain that it wasn't like that. We didn't have YouTube in 2001. That's 20 years, not 200.
That's a sign itself, right? Like when you have to sort of like punch the words like that, then you're like, oh, okay, so this is definitely in tech world, this is history, right?
Facebook is like also 17 years.
Exactly right. Right, 2006 or 7 was when we had access to it eventually. Like initially, it was only you had to be invited in. So anyway, so that journey from 2007 to 2012 was slow at first. But along the way, wherever I could get hold of material, eventually I found Richard Bandler's seminars from the 1970s, 80s, some of them from the 90s. And so when I started to watch a lot of that, obviously I was intrigued because I've always been fascinated with and fascinated by personal change and personal transformation. So, I started to look wherever I could get hold of, PDFs, or in those days, it was like also, bootleg was the thing. Like you had torrents and, wherever, because I was hungry for that knowledge. So at that point, I had no idea how else I could get it. And so initially, that was the journey, until, of course, I realized that, Dr. Bandler is still alive, which is a good thing. And he was still practicing. He was still doing seminars, which blew my mind, because I was like, okay, I've been watching this guy on video. So it's one of those, we talk about parasocial relationships. So I had like consumed, gigabytes and gigabytes.
You knew him.
Yes, I knew him. And I knew him when he was, 35, when he was 45, when he was 55, right? So it got to that point where I was like, okay, if he's still alive and he's still teaching where his process is designed to speed things up, right? It's like time distortion in a way. I said, okay, if he's still alive, I definitely want to learn from the person who created this.
What kind of experience is that to learn, except from your expectations? Were they matched to the real thing?
I'm sure you may have heard of this expression, like never meet your heroes, right? So they say. Now, of course, it can go both ways, right? So in my case, I was very fortunate that not only was he at the top of his game, and this is, mind you, Bandler he was in his, I guess, late 20s to now he was in his probably late 50s, maybe very early 60s by the time I met him. So thankfully, and at that point, he was still doing what he does best, excellent at the way he does hypnosis. Of course, I didn't go there necessarily wanting to learn hypnosis. It was more to learn NLP because I had already begun that journey of NLP in 2007. So for me, it was like, pinch me, I'm not dreaming kind of a moment, because I was sitting in literally the front row, right in front of the speaker stack. So I'm like literally sitting in and like, wow, dreams do come true, because I genuinely wanted to learn the latest that was available so that I could not only get better at it, but be able to help my clients. Somewhere, every time I felt there was something missing. Like I was getting it, but not. And then, of course, by the time 2015 happened, I kind of felt like, okay, now I've kind of got a feel for it, a hang of it. 2018 was when I stumbled upon Igor's work. And again, it was the same principle. I found, I think, his card deck online. I still can't remember which site it was, but somehow the ad popped up.
Let's just promote our deck. It's here. It's always here.
And of course, I have a few more which I picked up over the years. But the one that you showed, that's the one.
I also have the poker cards. No, I have the lunar oracles. Let's move.
Oh, okay. That's new. So
you come from the advertising agency?
Yes. So a little bit of a backstory here. Now we're jumping, it's like we're like doing time distortion.
And I will move you to the future in a few seconds. Don't worry.
So so I finished my degree in psychology, interestingly, and then of course I did my postgrad in business as an MBA, and then I got into advertising. So I did that for about 3 years, three and a half years. And what was good was I had intended to, I believe that I was meant to do advertising. And so I did my MBA so that I could get in, and, now everybody knows of the series called Suits. So I was a suit in an agency where in nowadays, basically you have the marketing side of the business and you have the creative side of the business. So you have the creative person that comes up with the ideas, and you have the marketing side where you have the person that sells the idea.
Which of those two were you more?
I was, I believed, because I wasn't the creative side, I still want to be in this world. So being the suit was the way to go. So I did that for a couple of years, but I quickly realized that somehow, the idea of selling somebody else's idea and, that disenchantment, since we're in the land of hypnosis, the disenchantment of that started to kind of, trickle in. And I realized that I couldn't see myself being like doing this work for like another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And so I stepped away, and then I started to kind of ask myself those, like the dark night of the soul, asking those questions. And that was not just one night, it was several nights, several months of this deep introspection. And then it eventually came to this space of working with people.
When you said you work with people, you said that some in talk before that you were always interested in human behavior.
Yes.
What knowledge did you take from the advertising through the NLP and into the hypno-coaching now? What is the
Beautiful. So I look at it like this. At the end of the day, as human beings, if I look at it as we have, it's like I was telling somebody yesterday, it's like we have two drivers, right? Either we move away from something or we move towards something, right? Either it is more of or less of, right? And these are things that I have experienced, I have seen. And so even today, when I'm working, say, for example, when I'm doing the hypno coaching and I'm working with people, I'm always bringing it all back to these two basic questions. right? It's like, what do you fear and what do you want more of? Right? Because at the end of the day, we're looking at motivation. And motivation as in not from the outside, but literally what's their own inner driver. Like, why will they do what they're supposed to do?
When we said that, you said that sometimes the processes took more time and the speed was something that you needed. How to gain more speed. And maybe that we mentioned before of the technology and YouTube and when we started the story of the YouTube, just the technology of the things, everything is speeding up steeply.
Yes.
And the techniques and methods for healing also need to speed up.
Yes.
Or coaching or whatever. Yeah. So be it as it is, speed is increasing. What is with the principles? Are the principles of the marketing, the healing, and the coaching the same 20 years ago and today?
Oh, that's a great question. So one thing I'll tell you, and this I find very surprising and fascinating at the same time. And I don't know how it is, in your country at this point, but it's like, having worked, as I said, in some of the best agencies in the country, I had never come across this concept of the funnel, right? Basically funnel marketing, right? And this is, mind you, I'd also studied in a premier business school, but we had never been taught this concept of the funnel. So for people,
how would you explain the funnel?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying for people who are budding hypnotists, budding hypnotherapists, people who want to have a business which is a business and not just sort of like a hobby or a micro side hustle, meaning it only brings in a couple of euros or pounds or dollars, whatever is your currency that you're using to transact with customers. The biggest lesson that I got, and this is, so we are like jumping forwards and backwards in time, but just keep in mind, for me, 2019 was really where this logic started to click into place. And I'll definitely answer your question in a moment, like what is a funnel? But I'm saying, even before I answer the what is a funnel, why is a funnel so important is a stronger frame to really think about, especially for those of you who are watching this. It's like, if you don't have a funnel, then every time when you want to get clients, it's like you're starting from scratch. Right? Which means, what is a funnel? It's like saying you're offering people different versions of what you do, of your solution that is there for them. Right? So if there is it's like saying if somebody has a tiny cut, you offer them a Band-Aid. Because, they want that cut to stop.
Yeah, they would need a 3 weeks hospital care.
Exactly, right? Right? So what is a funnel? It's like saying, if you have a service, what is the Band-Aid version of your service, right? What is the deeper version of that service? And then ultimately, what is something that is like a journey, right? So I'm saying, essentially, when you talk about a funnel, you're talking about offering what you have, especially in this case, in the context of hypnosis, what is it that you can offer people at different levels? At a very basic level, which means there's a basic problem and here's a basic solution. Oh, you like what I did? I have a deeper solution for a deeper problem that you have, right? And then, like I said, you may want to start with a digital course, or you can offer one-to-one, because I've done a lot of one-to-ones over the years. And one-to-ones is a way which is a little more controlled because I can see what's happening with you. Even that, I can do it like I can sell my time initially, because I'm saying, okay, I'm either working on a per session or working by the change, which means, okay, you have a phobia of dogs. We're going to work together till it's done, right? And it's going to cost you $100. Maybe that's the first client. Second client, $250.
what needs to happen in order for you to increase the price, except the demand and the market?
So it really is, one, the demand, and two is it's your valuation, your personal valuation of what you believe the course is worth.
How do you do that? How do you change your value?
How do you change your values?
Yes. You had like 20 years of preparing to, not preparing.
Correct.
Let's say 20 years of preparing something. And then you put it online. And then you say, correct, if I take into consideration my 20 years, I will charge the overcharge. If I don't take into consideration, I will feel like I'm underselling.
Correct. I love your question. So in my mind, to answer that question, I would look at a line, right? Like visualize a line, and that if this is undercharge and this is overcharge, right? Somewhere there's a point where I feel, and this is where it's intuition, it's notional, where I feel good that this is what I'm charging for my time. That's one way to look at it. So to work up to that, I may start where I'm charging a little bit more than undercharging, but not so much where it's overcharging. And then eventually I'll reach it's like
but you need to tweak your price continuously.
100%.
It shouldn't be like, let's put a price and 1 year I will have a price and that's it.
That's actually a good way of framing it. I've done that also. But I'll tell you, because at the end of the day, this is a product that we are offering people. They are the ones that will give you that input. Which means if you've been doing the work and you've sold at a particular price point for say 6 months, you're always getting feedback.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
But what is it when you have some of the therapists or coaches, whatever, that are in the same field as you, and they charge, like, let's say they'll do a session for 500 euros.
I don't know how much your students know this, but there is this concept of creating niches, right? Niches, which basically means that if you are, for example, only targeting students versus, or let's say students who are preparing to become professionals as engineers or doctors or whoever. So that's an example. On the other hand, if you are talking to CEOs of a company, right? On the other hand, if you're talking to homemakers, people who work who take care of the home, who work from home, maybe today again because of thanks to COVID, everybody's kind of familiar with the idea of working from home, and just like you and I are right now working literally off our laptops, right? Price point also has a lot to do with who these people are. One, what their aspirations are. So, for example, when I do one-to-one coaching and I offer a 1-year program, I only offer it to people who in their minds, sort of like an equivalent, already have a desire to make $1 million. So if they're thinking of making $1 million, if they've already been through their mental process of the last so many years, where they're like, I'm fed up of this, I truly believe I'm a millionaire, if that's what they're thinking, and they are more open to the idea of spending $10,000 to be coached to get that million.
Coaching a millionaire to become a millionaire is a coaching of a mindset, not a coaching number of million. So that's the same thing as coaching a guy who needs to get to 10,000 and now it's on 1.
I would have said yes. If we had this conversation 5 years ago, I would have said yes.
Okay. What's the difference?
The difference is all about your own perception. So someone who has the idea and truly wants to make it to that to $1 million, which is like a sort of like a cultural sign of, you made it, right? That person has a very different outlook to life. And a lot of their money mindset, their wealth mindset concepts will either keep them stuck in getting to 100,000 versus $1 million.
Okay, so there's some
so it's not the
limits, some belief system limits.
100%.
Nothing else.
Belief systems. So okay, if we're talking, and we are in a context where everybody is pretty much getting what we're saying, I'm talking about then it's your identity. It's not only your beliefs, but your identity. It's like, I am a millionaire, right? If I truly believe that, then everything that I'm doing right now will not hold me back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The information for that identity is expensive, more expensive than the information needed for
100%.
identity of, let's make a soup. So it's like 100,000 soups. Now that's two different mindsets.
Exactly. And also, I love the fact that you use the word information. And this is again connecting back to technology, right? Today, information is no longer that secret weapon that some people do and some people don't. If you're looking at 99% of the population.
Yeah, we're open.
It's like what billionaires know, a lot of that other folks don't know, right? But what millionaires have access to, a lot of them are today making more of it accessible to people who are stuck at minimum wage, or people who are stuck at somehow I can't go past 100,000 or 200,000, right? My brain doesn't get it. What's that information? Today, that is freely available, right? So, so to bring it all back to what we were saying, basically, if as a hypno coach, as a hypnotist, before you even actually make what you're making, it helps for you to say, okay, who am I actually going to be talking to? Because, for instance, if I'm only talking to people who have the capacity to spend maybe in a year, it's like what we call lifetime value versus I'm only talking for a year. If they have the ability to only spend $1,000 on their education, right? Then you know how many people you want to be able to reach out so that $1,000 can turn into 100,000. Right? What's the math? 100 people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So that's where it's like saying, can I offer 3 levels of courses, which all in all will be $1,000 for the student? So they'll get level 1, which is, let's say, $99, right? Or $149. Level 2, and euros, I think, is somewhere around about, say it's like, okay, let's say 100 euros, 300 euros, and 600 euros.
How much are your students or clients similar to behavior of spending as you are?
Oh, they okay. So that's a great question, by the way, because it's like probably it'll be 1%. Because the way I have spent money on my own education is literally like my top students will sort of be my mirror image.
Okay.
Which is usually it's only 1%.
You think you overspend then?
What I'm doing, I see it as a vocation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, of course. You're not selling yourself as a product. You're teaching others to do something else. Okay.
Also, and I'm looking at, so whatever I've been spending, I look at it over the lifetime of my doing this work. So I've already spent 20 years and I intend to continue on because this is what I do, right? So therefore, is it like I've spent all of this only up to now, or am I going to get the benefits in the future?
But what are the most biggest percentage of the clients you would target with your way of work?
I would say it's a combination. So maybe about, say, 20% or 40% of what I've spent would be the average.
Okay, that's for the spending. Now we're forming that ideal average client of yours. Who is that? Can you?
For me specifically, I have chosen people like me, meaning I have chosen people who are digital coaches. Now I use the word digital coaches because that is a hashtag that will work online. But basically, I'm talking about people who are coaches, right? People who are healers, and they're focusing on these 5 areas, which is health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, and purpose. So my audience teach their audiences or heal their audiences or help their audiences in these 5 areas.
What is different, if I can interrupt, because I like doing that.
Sure.
What is the difference between the coaching approach that you have towards the different 5 areas? Is it similar, just different slang, or should I say vocabulary, or is it there are some key differences in the way you teach them?
So I've not differentiated between somebody who does financial coaching and somebody who does spiritual coaching, for example. I am talking to people who know that they're meant to be coaches, who are on that journey to becoming better and better at being a coach, right? So I'm not teaching them financial coaching. I'm only working with them on their mindset.
Okay, yeah. So that you don't need to introduce yourself to their content. That's their thing.
Yes.
But that's the coach. That's the most of the coaches should, mental trainers in a way, should be.
But how much? And I like the fact that he said that they should do it. But how much do they do it?
Well, we'll see with the numbers changing in the bank, the way are they doing it or not?
Right. So, and that's absolutely true, because now, especially in these last couple of years, especially in an Indian context, a lot more people, and I know this has also happened worldwide, a lot more people have left their previous jobs or careers to become coaches. So, when we talk about course creation, like the course creation market, right? That has definitely grown since COVID. Yeah. So there are more people who are focusing on, okay, let me package what I know, whether that is in the context of finance or, or like health or, relationships for that matter. And they are right now in that phase where they're packaging it all. But at the end of the day, what they also will realize pretty soon is that they are at one level the product. So your own, mindset, your own money mindset, your own identity is something that needs to constantly be worked on. And that's where, like, those are my people. Those are the people I work with. So that they can change their mindset.
Changing the mindset of the coaches that are motivated to be coaches.
Yes.
You have a niche. That's a niche. What are with the people? India has 1 billion of people. What, Croatia and surrounding, like we have like all people who speak Croatian or similar languages that can understand each other without many changes are like 12 million, and then find a niche in a place where you just have to narrow it down, and then you find yourself working with 6 clients or 6,000.
I get you.
I get you. Do you think that worldwide niching is the only way of success?
No, but there's a reason why niching exists. So here's the thing, right? For most of us, especially when we're running our home businesses, there's only so much of a marketing budget that we have, right? And we've not yet even started to talk about digital advertising. Yeah. Right now, we're only talking about, before we go to market, what is it that we're offering people, right? That, okay, and what is the price point, for example? And that's where the whole, the funnel comes in. But there's a very important component, and it took me many, many years. And, it's like they say, I left a lot of dollars on the table, because for many years, I didn't really understand that if you're running a business, you need to advertise, right? Unless you're able to tap into, and when I say advertise, I don't mean you have to always pay for it. You have the organic advertising and you have the inorganic, right? Today we talk about organic, which is maybe you're just creating content, and your content is so good and it's so different that people, and so well niched that people are drawn to it, and your style, your way, all of it. And there are multiple variables involved. It's like not everybody's going to make it on YouTube on day one, but 10 years later, you'll know, right? So what I'm saying is it's a long game. YouTube is an example of somebody wanting to do, let's say, creating organic content. Or maybe you're doing reels, maybe you're doing a live. Like I've been doing a Facebook live now for literally almost 365 days. every single day, right? And that's just 1 year, right? Now imagine doing this over like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
What happened during this year when you do it? What happened?
Multiple things. But before I answer that question, no, I'm with you. Before I answer that question, just to put that into context, I'm saying when you're looking to run a business, what's also important is that you're looking at the digital marketing, the digital advertising context. If you are, let's say, for example, if you are looking to earn at least 1,000 or 10,000 euro for that matter, right? What percentage of that 10,000 euro are you putting back into ads? For most hypnotherapists, hypnotists, healers, we've not been schooled in that. So we don't, it hurts us. Okay, 1 month we'll put, 1,000 euros in and it burns. If you're putting in 1,000 euros and you get maybe 10 leads or 50 leads, right? It's not necessary that you will convert from those 10 or 50 people over the course of 1 month. It may happen 2 years later. That same person has stuck around.
Yes. You just be your presence. You're making your presence.
Finally, you have connected with them and they have connected with you, but they may not buy what you're selling right now. Now, the thing is, for a lot of people who are in the line that we are in the space that we are in, it hurts them the next month to pay another 1,000 euros because maybe they made one sale, right? And they didn't recover the 1,000 euros. Now imagine doing that for 6 months.
And failing.
6,000 euros in the, all our own fears come up and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Family is at you, or, people are like, your friends and family are like laughing at you, whatever. I mean, it varies from city to city, country to country, but fear is real in that context. And so sooner or later, people stop advertising, which means you're not really looking at what you're doing as a business. Because if you're doing, it's like saying, a restaurant doesn't choose when to turn their lights on and turn it off. They don't close the restaurant down when there are 0 people in the restaurant.
Yes. And
they're like, okay, we're only going to be open for 2 hours.
Coca-Cola also doesn't need commercials. So yeah.
What's that?
Coke doesn't need commercials.
It doesn't need commercials, but it still does it.
Yes, right? We are still here. We're with you. That's like
Imagine Coke, which is, I don't know, what is it, about 100 years old, if I'm not mistaken. They're still advertising today, where it's available every day. Somebody or the other is seeing a Coke on TV or a serial or a movie or whatever. But Coke is still spending money.
Let's
to advertise.
Take a minute break. We'll be back right after this ad.
Exactly.
I'm going to try to sell this.
So what's the lesson in this?
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Can we do the Pepsi now part? Okay. So the Pepsi doesn't have. Okay, I don't know who's going to buy. Okay. Yeah. What's the lesson?
No. So I'm saying, so the lesson is this, right? That if such a big brand or such big brands, which have more than a century of being around in popular culture, and you're seeing them all around every single day, they are still advertising. What is it that makes us stop in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? Right? So why am I saying all of this? That if you say, oh, but if I do a niche, will I only end up with 6 people? You will end up with 6 people if you're not consistently advertising. Right? Because
the budget can be smaller, but the consistency is important.
Consistency. So if you're saying, okay, I'm going to put 100 euros in, even if I get one person to reach out to me, if this person, like we said, even if you're spending only 100 euro, right, 100 euro every month on advertising, if this person, one person buys your starting product at 50 euro or 100 euro, you already recovered your money.
What I actually understand most from our students, that out of 100, maybe 10 will start with some kind of a therapy practice. So the moment from being schooled and being in business is the high, maybe bigger leap than actually enrolling in the school of hypnotherapy. Not enough experience to start.
If initially you want to, I don't know, maybe charge people €1, it's fine, because you're not going to be charging €1 2 years later. Initially, even if it means that you offer people a money back, right? I'll work with you for a month, right? You pay me €100. I'll work with you for a month on this specific thing that they're working on. And this is in the initial phase. I'm not talking 5 years, 10 years later. I'm saying if in the initial phase, because this is in alignment with who you are, you're saying, you work with me for a month, you pay me €100. If at the end of 1 month, you don't get the result that I had told you I will get you, at the end of 1 month, I will return your €100, no questions asked.
Yes.
At one level, it takes away that the guilt, the shame, the fear, self-doubt, right? Who am I? I'm thinking, they are thinking, what is this person? Who do they think they are? All that garbage that we carry around. And we've all, this, we've all learned this from way back, we carry it from childhood. And it's moments like this when we have to show up to help other people where our own insecurities come up. Which is why, like you very rightly said, whether it's €1, whether it's 100 or 1,000 or more, it doesn't matter. Right? It's that feeling of, I'm not good enough. What if I fail?
It's also saying I can fail.
Yeah.
And it's also there will be no consequences for that. If I fail, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've wasted some time. The other person also, there is always a gain. No matter how bad
Thank you for saying that.
There's always a gain.
Because here's the other thing, right? Even if, quote unquote, even if what you did for that person, it didn't stick, it still has helped them on their journey to heal.
Knowing what you don't need, for instance, like you said.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
Also, somebody comes to a EFT session and says, no, I don't want to tap it. That's not for me. And then the other one comes to I don't know, singing bowls, and they're, wow, I'm cured.
Exactly.
You had to go through
and
something.
We know this, that we are all at some level on a journey. We are all at some level on that journey of healing, because as being human, we are on that, we are constantly transitioning from one to the next till that final moment of enlightenment, right? So therefore, like you very rightly said, even if it's like, okay, it didn't work, it's not entirely true. It didn't work in the way that they had hoped it would, in the time frame that they had wanted or that we set. So sometimes that can also happen, which is why, like, for example, I remember Bandler saying this many, like literally now decades ago, you charge not by the time, you charge by the change. Right? And so if you're saying, okay, I will, and this is also about confidence, right? I've taken out the fear of, oh, it has to happen in 30 days. I'm saying I'll work with you until it's done. Now, doing that also takes away the fear, which means your energy is flowing a lot better, right? There's no fear of failure. And also, maybe with the first person, it may take a month or maybe a month and 10 days. Okay, so maybe when I said 1 month, I missed it by 10 days. But here I've just said I'll work with you till it's done, right? And it actually ended up being a month and 10 days. But there's a lot that I have learned as say in this case, a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist. I have learned a lot. And so when I work with the second person, already I can say, yes, I'm already working with one other person on the same thing, right? So somewhere inside of me, there's already that, the from signals from A to B are already kind of like, there's a flight path that's already kind of mapped.
Speeding up. You are an explorer of depth, but in order to reach height, so successes. So while we're doing the exploration of the depth, can we say you started something that you call iHypnosys? Apple hasn't yet taken it, so I see that you use the I as something that we recognize. Can you just introduce us to your website, and I'll put a link here while we talk about it, so you can check it. I can share it now on so we can talk.
Yeah, I'll just quickly run you through this. And this follows everything that we've been talking about till now about what is a funnel.
This is like 10 euros or something.
Yeah. So as I said, like in the Indian context, I've created a, like a no-brainer offer for a month, which is a way for people to connect, which is a way for people to start to have that face time with me, to get to know me, and it'll eventually convert into the various other levels. What are the other levels? There is the advanced membership, which is for an entire year, right? And then, of course, there is the workshop model, which is the immersion membership.
Okay.
Right? So these are basically where I do 1 3-hour workshop once a month, and then I do a couple of additional workshops in the year. So this is basically, an example of what is a funnel. Here it is.
Yes.
Right. I'm not saying everybody has to do a webinar or everybody has to do a particular funnel. The good news is there are many funnels, right? But as long as you have a funnel, it will help you when tomorrow you want to create a new product, right?
It's a support support system, and it works.
There is this very famous article called 1,000 True Fans. Okay. It's by this technologist called Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly used to be, I think, the editor or managing editor or something of the Wired magazine from the 70s. If you're able to get to a place, and it may take you a little while, or for some people, they may be able to do it pretty quickly, but to be able to sustain an audience of about 1,000 people, whenever you want to put out anything in the world, or you need money, quote unquote, and you're offering something of value, people will buy. Exactly. And then I love the fact that you talked about relationships, because I hadn't heard about this till recently. So there's a new terminology called para-social relationships, right? Which basically means that today, because most of us are living a lot of our life online, right? So if you have access to someone's podcast, so let's say you're listening to somebody like a Joe Rogan or whoever, right? And you really connect with that person, whoever the person may be, and you consume a lot of information that they create and that is created about them. Pretty soon, you have a parasocial relationship with them.
Okay, again, yeah.
Which means you're like, hey, I know this person. I know what this person ate yesterday. There's this new phenomena where you can literally build these really intimate relationships with other people, meaning they are technically building it with you without you even knowing it. And that's where, to go back to your question of what was the benefit of doing a live every day for a whole year? I didn't forget, right? So, so the point is that I know that there are a lot of people that have consumed my information. I don't know them yet. But I know they have consumed it, right? Because I've used something like, let's say, Facebook to do the live, or I've put it on YouTube and people have watched. Now, you know this, when it comes to even something like YouTube, very few of us actually subscribe and like every video that we watch.
Yes. Even those we liked.
Yes. And so much so that even some of the really, I won't even say successful, really popular podcast channels or whatever, they will sometimes share information saying, do you know that 70% of our viewers are not subscribers? So what does that mean? That there are a lot of people out there that are aware of us. There are a lot of people out there that are tapping into who we are. We don't know it. But tomorrow, when you make an offer that is absolutely what this person needs, they'll be the first to sign up.
They will come. If you build it, they will come. That's
yes.
What I said.
Exactly.
Dreams, they called it. Yes.
Yeah.
We're approaching the end of the conversation. Two things are remaining. Sure. One of them is the idea of a hypnocoach versus hypnotherapist. What would you say for you is the main difference? How to what would you advise the beginners in hypno-coaching or hypnotherapy?
So the legal aspect, right? So obviously, whoever's listening, I mean, you'll need to check what is it in your town, what is it in your city, what is it in your country, right? Because I know even in the US, state to state, there are differences in law.
Okay.
So you have to really know what suits you best and what serves you best, right? That's one part. The second, of course, is for me, I've always been drawn to coaching. I've always been drawn to mentoring. Even though, of course, like I completed my hypnotherapy certification last year, I don't personally differentiate between the two. I look at it more from a perspective of, if you're coming to me, can I help you? What's the briefest way in which you can have this experience so that you experience the change and you continue to go about your life, right?
That's why you probably did the conversational hypnosis with Igor. And
yes, exactly. Thank you for saying that. It's been like a good 15-year ride from, NLP, I get it, to, conversational hypnosis, all the way to now, right? Where it's a combination of hypnosis, hypnotherapy, conversational hypnotherapy. Like it's a blend of all of these plus the mindfulness and the meditation. So it becomes this unique blend that I know is making a difference in people's lives. Not only, like you said, so they go deeper, but also so that they're able to look into the future and say, yes, I want to be a millionaire. It's about your values. It's like money should, and I say should, but it's like, if you have money in your top 3 values, right, it makes a huge difference. Because then you're willing to say, okay, I want to be able to have a business that's sustainable, but I also want to be able to do good and do well by other people. So that constant connection to both is what will literally keep you in business.
I will give you now a suggestion how to embrace the idea of money for the future without take this as a conversational hypnotic moment. Okay.
Sure.
Maybe we should all accept the idea of money as an external validation of our inner value.
Yes. The work that we do and what the next 5 years is going to be, where wellness, mindfulness, and AI, and not to forget all the wearable technology that's just going to get more and more accessible. I'm talking over the next 5 years.
The imagination will always be the one that will say where the end is and where the choices lay.
Yeah.
So let's just relax and enjoy the subconscious getting out.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Thank you very much, Rahul.